NBC News can project that former President Trump has won the Michigan presidential primary, Republican presidential primary, defeating former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. The former president going 5 for 5 in the first races of the 2024 election season. Here's where we're at right now with this race, 65% of Trump having that. And we also have a call in the Democratic race as well. NBC News can project President Joe Biden has won the Michigan Democratic primary. The major storyline there, though, how many Democrats would vote uncommitted. Here is it right here. Let's take a moment and look at this where we have right now. With 10% of the vote in, you have 16% uncommitted, about 17,000 there voting uncommitted in this primary. Joe Biden, obviously the clear winner, the incumbent here at 78% of the vote. We have complete team coverage tonight. Mike Memoli, Shaq Brewster, and Gabe Gutierrez reporting all across the state tonight. First, let's get right out to Gabe, who joins us tonight from Dearborn, Michigan. Gabe, you know, the big headlines tonight are going to be what are the totals when it comes to that uncommitted vote versus Joe Biden. Have you heard yet from the Biden-Harris re-election team, and is the uncommitted number overperforming, or is it sort of where people thought it was going to be?
Well, hi there, Tom. We have heard from the Biden campaign, but before I get to that, I want to talk about what we're seeing right now. You just put up those numbers. Uncommitted, more than 16% at this point. And we should qualify that by saying it is still early. You mentioned just 10% or so of the vote is in, but 16% is already higher than the organizers of that group Listen to Michigan, the threshold that they had set. Now, Tom, the organizers of that group had said they wanted more than 10,000 uncommitted votes. You see right there, we're up above 17,000. So they crossed that threshold significantly. However, as the Biden campaign has pointed out, in terms of the context here, in 2020 and in 2012, in previous elections, uncommitted had actually done pretty well in Michigan primaries because they got around 20,000 votes. Still, these numbers are significant, and we are hearing from the Biden-Harris campaign and saying that even in 2012, uncommitted got about 10% of the vote. Again, though, we're up about 16. Democrats will be watching this, Tom, as we head into the November election, and we'll see how this number goes. If it perhaps goes above 100,000, the organizers of this group, Listen to Michigan, say that that would be a significant, a huge message to the Biden campaign to really pay attention to the concerns here in Dearborn, where I am. Of course, an area with a huge Arab American population. And Tom, we've been speaking with voters here throughout the day who are very frustrated with the Biden administration's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, and they wanted to vote uncommitted to send a clear message, Tom.
You know, it's still very early in the night, Gabe, and we'll see where those numbers go. You have 10%. We're at 17,000, a little over 17,000 for uncommitted. But again, a lot of votes still left to be counted out there. I do want to ask you, from your conversations, when you talked to Democrats and they mentioned they were going to vote for uncommitted, what percentage would you say had to do with the Gaza war, and how much were just other Democrats who were just sort of unsatisfied with President Biden?
Look, it was very interesting, Tom. We've been speaking, as I said, with several voters here. Actually, at this particular location, at this at Dearborn High School here, we spoke with several people who were frustrated just with the whole process, some independents that came here, who actually voted for Nikki Haley because they were frustrated that the two front runners of these of the parties were, they cited age concerns. And so they wanted to go for Nikki Haley, even though, as we're seeing right now from these early results, that once again, former President Trump is going to a huge victory here in Michigan, and he now has won these 5 contests. But in terms of the Democratic voters who came out to vote uncommitted, many of them saw this as a protest vote. Some of them came here and, said that they acknowledged that they would eventually vote for President Biden in November, but they thought it was incredibly important to send that message right now. Still, some other voters we spoke with, including one man in particular, he said that he was even considering changing and voting for former President Trump, even though he's been a lifelong Democrat. But the biggest concern I would have to say, Tom, among Democrats is whether or not, these uncommitted voters, whatever they vote in November, the bigger concern is what if they stay home? And of course, as you know, Tom, Michigan in 2016 went to former President Trump by just 10,000 votes. President Biden won this state by just 150,000 votes in 2020. Those voters, if they stay home, Democrats, if they stay home, could be huge for the Biden campaign come November, Tom.
Gabe, you mentioned Nikki Haley. Let's talk about the Republicans now and the results that we have there. The Haley campaign set the bar incredibly low, right? They were essentially saying if they get 10%, they have a significant number. If we put up the boards right now, where we're at with Nikki Haley, she's at about 30%. Again, only 9% of the vote has been counted. So, again, a lot of the vote is still left to be counted out there in Michigan right now. But she wasn't even in Michigan today, right? She was in Colorado. She was in Minneapolis. And essentially looking forward to the Super Tuesday states. This was expected to be a blowout for the former president.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. And as you said, Colorado today, Minnesota, she'll be in Utah tomorrow. Nikki Haley is already moving on to the Super Tuesday states. She's going to be on a 9-state campaign swing ahead of Super Tuesday. And she has not committed, though, to stay in the one way or the other, what she'll do after Super Tuesday. But it's clear that her campaign has so much riding over the next couple of days, and she's still trying to make that case that the Republican voters need some alternative to former President Trump. But as former President Trump, actually, by the way, we're expecting to hear from the former president. Potentially, he's expected to call into the GOP watch party here in Michigan. So that could happen at any moment. But the Donald Trump campaign, even in South Carolina, they have not even made mention of Nikki Haley. They are setting their sights squarely on the general election and focusing completely on President Biden at this point, Tom.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez for us tonight. Gabe, we appreciate all your reporting.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.